Hi, it's Deborah Irene. Happy New Year, the very first day of 2019. I'm excited today because last week I finished my book proposal for Someday I Will Write, and it was a very good exercise for me to do. It helped me put my book together from beginning to end. All of my stories are organized and ready for final editing. So I am really excited to bring you an update on my third book, Someday I Will Write. This is the second part of my series as I take you along my writing journey to finish my books, Someday I Will Write. I've been asked before, when did I want to write? When did I realize I wanted to write? How did it all come about? Some people say you must read all the time and must have read all the time when you were younger. And I have to say that my journey might be a little bit different than some people's. I can't say that I was the best reader, but I did always have ideas from the time I was a young girl, and I had an imagination. I was an introvert, so I usually would take my feelings rather than express them outwardly and openly. I would go write my feelings down in a journal, or I would write a poem about the way I was feeling at the moment. So I guess I always did write. But more than that, I would observe things and I would hear a story and would think sometimes that would make a really good book, or that would make a really good movie. So I had ideas and concepts for things when I would hear about real life stories. So I guess that's why I tell real life adventures. And that came at a very early age. But as I graduated high school and furthered my education, I even did a stint in the military. And then when I started my career, I was all about just earning a living and raising a family. It never occurred to me really during those years to write. I think it was still inside of me. I was just busy living life. Until the mid-90s, about 1995, when my oldest son earned the right to attend a children's literature festival a couple hours away from our home by reading so many award-winning books. And he wanted me to go with him on this field trip. And so I took a day off work and drove him and a friend of his and his mother to this children's literature festival. Now, this festival was held on the campus of a college, and they would bring in children authors from all over the country and set up different rooms, and you got to select so many of the authors to go visit, and you could ask them questions, listen to their presentations. So I was so taken with these authors. It just, something hit in my heart when I would listen to them speak and tell their stories about how they started writing. One in particular caught my attention, and his name was Clyde Robert Beulah, and he wrote children's stories, mostly westerns, and he was an older gentleman, 10 years older than my own father, who had already passed away. And he was so engaging to listen to him tell the stories, and he captured the attention of the students, but he captured my attention and my heart. And I would have loved at some point in time to have sat down and talked to him. But that's when I really realized that I did want to write. I wanted to write a book. Now, what was I going to write a book about? I didn't have a clue at that point in time, but I knew that I wanted to write a book. So I went back to work the next day, but I could not focus. In fact, my coworkers used to tease me because they said I couldn't work for a week after I would attend a writing festival, which I continued to do with my other sons as well when they got old enough. So that's how I discovered the desire to write. But it was 15 years before I published my first book. Once that first book was published, Reflections, then I started blogging and I started writing more stories. I built up my confidence, but all these thoughts and ideas that I had had over the years, I started really thinking about them and trying to figure out a way for me to write. So that's my story, and I will continue to bring you more stories in the months ahead about this new book. Someday I will write, and have a great 2019.